Step in inside the principal's office, building community with the right synergy. Step in.
A lot of times this topic comes up with leaders that's either met with
it's a safe place to be. Well, leaders can be free. Come learn new lessons.
gap is closing
Feel
and
free
kids
to
are
ask a
increasingly
question.
involved with this.
Step in the principal's office. Inside the principal's office. Principal's office.
I mean, are you guys principals or middle school students?
Inside the principal's office.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm feeling that intro. I'm feeling that. Good morning.
That was fire.
Thank you.
Loved
Thank
it.
you. I got to give credit. That intro, Mac. Thank you so much for that, and thank you to your son for putting together the audio, the track to that. That was amazing.
He's awesome. Golden Boy Productions. Check him out on Instagram. He's great.
Awesome. Welcome. We're just like jumping right in. But good morning and welcome to the show, or good afternoon if you're watching this later. Good evening. Now it sounds like the Truman Show, but welcome to Inside the Principal's Office. We are so excited that you are back here. My name is Charles Williams, one half of the dynamic duo that makes up this team. I am a principal in Chicago and the host of the Counter Narrative podcast, along with this and a slew of other things, right? Author, speaker, right? All those fun things. But this is the best place to be on a Saturday morning, hanging out with my co-host, Michael McWilliams, and some amazing guests. So thank you so much for being here. Mac, how are you doing this morning? I hear that you're not even here, right, in the country.
I'm not here. I'm in Columbia. This SchoolRubric is about global education, right? So I thought I'd just, fly over to broadcast from, Columbia today. Yeah. I'm so excited about being here. So is it my go? It's your go.
It's your go. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Mac. Everyone calls me Mac. All of my friends call me Mac. So you can call me Mac. I am a career principal. I've been a principal for 20 years. I'm an elementary principal at a school in North Texas, pre-K through 5th grade. And I am excited to be here today to spend time with my friend and co-host, Charles Williams. I am the founder of the learningleader.live. If you have a few moments, go over to the website. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all of those places. I am so excited. And you know what? This is Black History Month.
Yes, it is.
So we like to interact with our viewers. So I have a game. Can we play a game just for a moment?
Sure. Let's play a game.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Ooh,
I have some Black
history. First grader.
I have 2, and I want you to chime in. I want to see who can get this. Okay, you're going to tell me who this person is. I am the African American chef that invented the potato chip. Who's on this morning? Who's on?
Let's see. Drop it.
It's
okay if you're.
I am going to ask Charles if he's smarter than a grader. These are actual questions that I've asked on announcement.
Charles is Googling. He's cheating.
No, you can't Google. You stop. I see your fingers.
I got to see who's responded to us. Let's see.
Okay, and then I have another one.
Oh, good morning, Jeff.
I'll ask these questions, and then we'll give the answers a little later. I'll give you some think time. The other one is, I was the first African-American woman elected to the Senate in 1968. And I'm going to give you a hint. One of my little bitty babies at my school, when I asked that question, saw me in the hall, because I ask in the morning, they can tell me all day long. They told me, Beyonce? So I'm going to give you a hint. It is not Beyonce.
Well, I thought I knew.
And when you're at an elementary campus, you say, oh, that's so sweet. Try again. I don't know what Google you were on, but that is not. So I'm going to tell you, it's not Beyonce. And hey, Susan O'Reilly Avery just won. I wish I had, you know what? I think we should give Susan O'Reilly a book. Susan, if you go to Twitter at McWilliamsMike1. If you inbox me your address, I'm going to send you a book. And I'm going to use my good pen. I'm going to sign it. Yeah, it's either George Speck or George Crumb. I would take either one of those. So if someone tell me the African-American woman that went to the Senate. It's not Michelle Obama and it's not Beyonce. When you're little bitty kids, that's all they know. Beyonce, Michelle Obama. All right, let's go.
Those are some queens, though. I mean, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Well, speaking, I was going to say, speaking of some amazing, powerful females, we have two guests here with us today. So we're going to turn it over to you, Ranesia and Katie. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. We want to know who you are. Well, we know who you are, but let our audience know who you are.
Ranesia, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Ranesia Edwards. This is my 20th year in education, and I love to serve kids. Every day I wake up wanting to give them my best because they deserve it. So I pride my day in words bring life. They matter. They add value. An instructional servant heart leadership. I want that to infuse every component of my life on a daily basis.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ranesia. Now that's inspiring, empowering.
Right. I don't want to go after her.
So we'll just continue on with the show. No, I'm joking.
I'm logging off. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Kinder. I've been a teacher since 2006, and I taught English for many, many years. And now I am an instructional coach at Hefner Middle School in Putnam City. And this is my calling on my life. I love it. I've got 2 model classrooms in the morning, and then my heart is with my baby teachers. I want to keep these baby teachers, and I call them my baby teachers because usually they're way younger than me, and also they're brand new. And I know that almost 50% of our new teachers leave in the first 5 years, and I want to retain them. So I am kind of like their big sister. I kind of mothered them. I hold them when they cry. They can come spend the morning with me, and then I can help them teach their class in the afternoon. It's pretty much the dream.
Thank you so much for being here. And today we are talking about instructional leadership. And so one of the things that I know for a fact, I had the honor and privilege of connecting with Katie on the podcast some time ago. She shared this wonderful idea of saying, I want to create a live PD space where I can model these things that we should be doing within our classrooms and allowing teachers to come in and see that. And guess what? It is now a reality. So those model classrooms. And when we talk about walking your talk, that's what I'm talking about. So thank you so much. We're back to our regular schedule, our regular format. So we do have 2 questions coming up today that we're going to be discussing, but this is not just about the 4 of us chatting. We want to hear from you. I know Mac asked you some questions earlier, but that doesn't mean that is the only time you can chime in. So please drop by, say good morning. Let us know that you're here. Good morning, Jeff. So happy that you're here. A fellow Illinois principal and a good friend of mine. Good morning, John. Thank you. Always tuning in. So drop by, say good morning, and also comment. Drop some questions that you may have. Answer the questions that we may have. We want to hear from you. This is an interactive space as we continue to grow our network of friends and family here. So before we jump into question 1, Matt, do you have any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Well, anything else to say? I don't want to just dominate, and I feel like I am.
No, I get accused of talking too much, so I thought I'd just kind of be kind of low key today.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, that made me laugh. But yeah, y'all always talk about me.
We do. Now the people down in Tassa, they're like, they send Mac talks too much. Look at this guy.
Yeah, but no, I am so excited about our guests. I'm ready to learn from you. I have my handy dandy inside the principal journal, and I have your names and your titles, and I'm getting ready to learn from you. I really want to hear more about this model classroom thing you have going on, Katie.
Ooh, maybe that will be part of a response, which I am expecting it will be. So it is time for question 1. Let's jump in. What do we have lined up for question 1?
Inside the principal's office, discussion question 1. In our schools, we have students of different learning styles and levels. Given this range of levels, how can we, as leaders, ensure that our staff are empowered and have the capacity to reach and teach all students?
That's a great question. Capacity, right? Making sure that our staff are ready to do the things that we need them to do. So, Ranesia, I'm going to kick things off to you first, and then Katie, jump in, and we'll just start this conversation.
How do you ensure that your staff has the capacity, keyword capacity, to reach and teach all students? Keywords, all students. I think it is important that I, as an instructional leader, I must be constantly perfecting and learning my craft, constantly learning and growing. I cannot get too busy managing stuff that I am not learning, growing, sharing those experiences, modeling what's expected. Keyword, modeling what's expected. Every time before I get before the staff, whether it's my skills specialist that we refer to in Aldine ISD or instructional coaches, I must be modeling those best practices. Yeah. That means I do my work. You cannot wing good instruction. And so providing the teachers with the tools that they need, expecting that they're constantly learning, but learning alongside them, giving them specific and timely feedback, keyword, specific and timely, for the purpose of growth, to improve learning for all students. And so first, I must model that work. I'm constantly growing, learning. I'm always reading, participating in Twitter chats on pretty much a daily basis. Reading, conferences. I cannot get too busy that I'm not modeling. You must be learning. And I cannot get too busy that I model that instruction first for every child, every day is my why. And then learning alongside the teachers, but then holding them accountable. It's a difficult time right now, but kids deserve our best. You know, we're spending lots of time, this is post-COVID. Well, post-COVID, kids need us more than ever because they have so many instructional gaps. Before I started administration, I was an instructional coach. So every single day, I'm going to coach first. But I must be involved in the work, know what I'm talking about, participate in the work, provide feedback, and give the teachers the tools they need, because we cannot continue to use the barrier where it's post-COVID. Post-COVID, scholars need us. Post-COVID, we must graduate students. Post-COVID, they deserve our best.
Powerful.
Well, the podcast is over. Everybody log off. Ranesia just dropped that mic. I ain't going. Why are you starting with Ranesia?
we should have learned from the intros, right?
Ranesia, that was I want to cry. You are servant leader, and I know that Charles is too. Mac, I know that we just became friends, but I'm sure you are too, especially if you're besties with the Charles Williams. I loved that. Gosh, I want you to come and talk to my school, Ranesia. I agree with everything that she said. I think that being servant leaders, that might look different every day. What do you need today? I had a teacher, I wore like a nice dress the other day because I was like, I tried to pass off my yoga pants like 3 times last week as dress pants. So Ranesia knows. And I wore a nice dress. I'm like, man, I've got to look the part. So I wore a nice dress, and I looked at a brand new teacher who started in the middle of the year. And that is tough. And I said, she looked at me like, I think I've made a mistake. I said, no. What do you need today? She said, I need somebody to move out all these broken desks. I said, you got it. My brand new dress was ruined. The next day I wore yoga pants. I'm just kidding. Don't wear yoga pants if your principal tells you not to. It might look different. Those are
Mac,
slacks.
don't wear yoga pants, Mac.
Yoga pants are slacks.
No.
Mac.
School is shut down if I show up in yoga pants.
Mac, Yoga pants. These are yoga slacks. Thank you. That's yes, they're a thing, Mac. Don't make that. I think it looks different every day. If our teachers don't have what they need to do what's best for kids, then we're not doing what's best for kids. So are we doing what's best for teachers? Are we making sure that they're taken care of? Are we making sure that they are not having a mental break inside their classroom? When they need you, you're there. And I think that can be really hard because a principal, lots of teachers don't know what goes on with a principal every day. I mean, they are breaking up a fight in the lunchroom, and then they are talking to mad parents, and then they have, a sub in the building, if you're lucky enough to get one, who sends 8 kids to the principal's office because that's what happened when she was a student. And I know that being a principal is hard, but being there for your teachers so they can be there for kids. And I do think post-COVID, if you have not been teaching and being a leader inside of this pandemic, then you don't know, because the game has changed. It's changed. And so I can't sit and tell teachers what to do unless I'm connected to students. Model classroom, Mac. I just brought it back. So that's how I feel.
So, I what I'm hearing a lot, and I think this is great, is that, we're talking about capacity. And the one thing that I didn't hear a lot about was, well, we got to figure out what the teachers' needs are and train them, develop PDs and sessions and things like that for them, which is a component. We need to make sure that they are able to deliver instruction in high quality ways that all kids are learning. But I think when we're talking about capacity, and one of the things I love about these spaces is all the different definitions that means. Like, sometimes it's just, do you have the mental capacity to do your job today? What can I do for you so that way I can free some of that stress, free up some of that space, so that way you can do your job? And I loved that. For example, as I mentioned earlier, I've been an ELA teacher for the last week and a half. And on Wednesdays, we have our staff meetings. And so one of my teachers came up to me and said, "So are we meeting today?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" "Well, we know you've been in the classroom and then you've been doing principal stuff in between. So we're sure you're pretty tired. So it's okay." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm exhausted. But you know what? We got work to do, right? We got kids in our building. You're right. There's this idea of this post-COVID, I call it post-COVID excuses, right? There's a lot of there's a reality. Things are rough, but we can't utilize that as an excuse of why we cannot move forward." And so I said, nope, we've been talking a lot about seemingly gaps. So we need to have this vertical alignment conversation and try to figure out where are things falling apart. We need to have that conversation. Otherwise, we're not moving forward. And that's what we did. And, we rocked it out. We had a great time, but it would have been so easy for me to say, yeah, I'm tired. Why don't you guys just go do what you need to do? I'm going to go into my office, take care of all this stuff that's backing up on me, right? That would have been the easy thing to do, but it wouldn't have been the right thing to do. So I love the fact that we're talking about these different types of capacities.
Yeah, I think that this is a subject that is real near and dear to my heart. John H., who we love and we can't wait to have him as a guest on the show, he says you cannot effectively lead if you're not connected to what's going on in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And I believe this. I believe that all kids can learn and learn at high levels. That's a non-negotiable in my school. And I'm going to tell you, it is a very awkward interview question because I ask it flat out. And I do it at the end because if you give the wrong answer at the beginning, I don't even want to wait the other 12. I'll kind of see what you're about, then I'll ask that. But I think this. I believe that we're talking about capacity, and I believe that the capacity of students will increase as the capacity of teachers increase. I believe that if in this post-COVID era, if we want kids to learn more, we have to ensure that teachers learn more. So it's not enough to say post-COVID, gaps, blah. Well, you know what? I think that from that we draw, what is the learning target then? If we're in this post-COVID with this new dynamic, then we as administrators, we have to engineer the environment where we ensure that our teachers have the expertise and the capacity to meet the needs of kids. So this is my educational philosophy. love this stuff. We must still be teachers. We can't see ourselves as administrators. We are a teacher of teachers. It's not enough to say that teachers have to be lifelong learners. Have you ever seen a learner without a teacher? So if teachers are lifelong learners, that means that we're the ones that are responsible for teaching them. So we have to connect with them. Each teacher in your building, you should know what their strengths, what weaknesses are. We should be looking at data the same way that they look at data in a classroom. We use that same student data to identify what are the learning needs of my teachers. So it's not just this one and done PD. Instruction for teachers is a continuous systemic process where each teacher, to give kids what they need, we're looking at data to give teachers what they need. And we're sending in the instructional coach where, hey, come invite you to this book study, doing this vertical teaming. So we have to have PD that is very individualized. And as administrators, we have to, I love what Ranesia said, that we have to model. You both talked about being models. Do you know that teachers are more apt to execute skills in their room that they are benefactors of in learning? I kind of said that kind of cloudy. Let me say that again. If I experience it as a learner and I see how it helps me, I am more likely to do that for kids. So as a principal, it is my responsibility, and it's holistic, all this SEL stuff, starting a meeting, have a learning target. There's not a time I get up and talk to my staff without having a learning objective. What will you be able to do at the end of this meeting that you couldn't do? What am I going to check for understanding? Come on, feedback. What am I giving you feedback on once you go back to your classroom? All of those things.
It's tweetable. Okay.
All of those things that we tell teachers, it's important for you to do this for young learners. If we do that for them as adult learners, they feel the support. They feel the support and they know that it's important. So then it's easier to transfer that into their classrooms. So we build teacher capacity. How do we reach kids and build their capacity? By building the teacher's capacity using the same research-based strategies, best practices that we ask them to do with kids.
Keyword research-based. Keyword best practices.
Yeah. It's not, I ate some cabbage last night and I woke up with this great idea. No. Show me the research.
No.
You don't eat cabbage? You don't eat cabbage? That's another show. We're not going to talk about. That's another show.
I eat mac and cheese. Okay,
Mac, I don't think that's an idea. I think that's gas that you're waking up with.
You're just bloated. You're just bloated. You're just You're just bloated. That's all that is. It's not an unction. That is not research. You just had an idea. Well, I
just full of hot air. Full of hot air.
You got these index cards and no. Where's the research? Show me what's worked in other places.
You know, Mac, I want to take that a step further. And this is something that you normally say. And so I don't even credit it as myself. It's me growing and learning from you, which is exactly what I wanted to say, is that in order for us then to grow the capacity of our teachers and to do all of those wonderful things that you talked about, we as leaders have to understand our capacities as well. Because as you often say, and I'm crediting you here, that we cannot lead beyond our own understanding, right? We can't do that. So we as leaders need to continue to grow our own capacity as well and make sure that we are growing. And I see all the books coming up, and this is a great transition because we have authors here, right? You have a space here.
I happen to have a book, Charles.
we right? It's hold them up. Go ahead, Ranesia. Hold it up again.
These names don't have my books on it, my name on it, but I read these all the time. Fill my bucket in the Fundamental 5. Best instructional practices, because every time I get up to do the work, I need to make sure my bucket is full and I'm filling buckets and I'm giving the work the best instructional practices when I'm doing the work. So these stay here all the time to remind me of the heart component and the research-based instructional practice component when I'm doing the work. Keyword, doing the work, part of the work, not delegating the work.
I like your keyword. Like, I think this is a thing. I hope you're writing that book like today.
No, I have no books on doing it.
It's time. It's time. You've been dropping truth bombs. Keyword.
That's going to be the title of your book. Keyword.
Keyword.
Katie, I know you dropped your book to start writing down the books that Ranesia had. What were you holding up there?
This is Untold Teaching Truths. It's my
Oh,
first book because it is everything that I wish I would have known when I started. I failed, so you don't have to. So your baby teachers don't have to. It's part
Oh,
memoir, part
Katie, you have to share that with me.
girl.
I need that in my hands.
Send me your address. I'll just send you one because you've been
Okay.
inspiring me since.
Can you get it on Amazon?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You get it on anywhere you buy books, but it is. I want to get it into the hands of baby teachers everywhere. Like you are not alone. I think some of our baby teachers sometimes they sit in their classroom like, oh my gosh, this is really hard, but they don't want to tell anyone because they don't want to seem like they don't know what they're doing because that's embarrassing, right? Or they feel shameful. And no, if you're not failing regularly, you ain't doing it right. Right? Am I right? Oh, keywords.
That's true. Keywords. Lean into that discomfort.
Well, I have a book, Charles. Can I talk about my book?
Please. Tell me more about your book, sir.
It's called Inside the Principal's Office. It's a leadership guide to inspire reflection and growth. And look at there.
I gotta get my hands on those books.
It's 40 weeks and it is great. It is reflection. Look at that. It's an easy read. I've had people that said that they've read the entire book and now they're going back 1 week at a time. At the end of each chapter, we focus on a message, instructional leadership, which we talk about today, servant leadership. What am I learning? Tell your story, celebrations, those components that are so necessary to effective leadership. It is past time for us to go to conferences. And how often have you gone to conferences and you've learned all of these great things, but then you get back to school and you get stuck in the minutia of all the stuff that you have to do, emails, memos, and grievances and all kinds of things. This book is, kind of closing that gap between theory and practice. In instructional leadership, it kind of gives you some weekly challenges of now what can you do to implement all this learning? What does leadership, instructional leadership, servitude leadership, what does that look like? What are the things that you should, and what are those possibilities? What are those things that you could be doing in order to fulfill that?
Ranesia, I've bought that book like 5 times, and Charles Williams sent me 2. And so I have been giving it out to all of my principal besties. I mean, even the teachers, I'm like, look, walk in this with your principals because they are human too. Yes. And it is good.
I got to get my hands on both of those books. I am a reader. I'm a reading teacher first, so I always interact with the text. I must get my hands on those books.
On a physical book. Yes.
Yeah,
forget that e-reading stuff. I got to smell the paper.
Yes.
This is such a robust conversation today, and I'm a clown. Just a little bit.
I know, you are the comedic relief.
Let's move on to question number 2.
Inside the Principal's Office, discussion question 2. It's great to have learning goals for students, but we need to make sure that we have systems of accountability in place so that all students learn at high levels. What are some approaches as leaders that you have found effective to hold staff accountable to implementing practices and moving towards school-wide goals?
Okay. There's a lot there. Katie, let's go to you first.
Well, thank goodness. I don't want to go after Ranesia.
It takes a village. We're all in.
I think the most powerful tool you have is your PLC. Your professional learning community is huge. And if you have a working PLC, a PLC that is not just planning, you're not just planning the day. No, I mean, you are, to quote Mike Madhouse, I don't know if you guys are PLC people.
You're talking about language, girl.
Oh, hey, boo.
Hey, boo.
Hey.
Solution
tree. Talk to that, Katie.
Come on. That's my
guy. Yes, I want to travel around with Mike and you. Let's do that.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. You're Columbia.
If I can just hang in the background, just
Going.
be in the background observing.
No, Ranesia, you're coming too. They need you. And so did Charles Williams, the Velvet.
Oh, I
voice.
get to come.
The Velvet voice. That just happened. Okay.
The Velvet Voice. We're having too much fun today. Stick with the script. Answer the question, girl.
Okay, Ranesia, I just ignored you. Ranesia, I just decided that if Charles Williams had his own like YouTube ASMR channel to help put people to sleep, that he could make $3 million a day. So like you just go on and you're just like, I want the Charles.
$3 million a day. Let me take some voice lessons.
Okay, PLC.
That's your ministry, huh?
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Talk about PLCs. You're all in my language. I'm a PLC model school, principal of a PLC model school.
Okay. So, so PLC, I think it's really important. You cannot let that go. So getting naked with your data, looking at it. I know. I just dropped that. And that's a Mike Madhouse. I didn't make that up. And
you're trying to make me feel all vulnerable.
Come
on, write that one down. Get naked with your data. You call it data. I call it data.
Oh my God.
You can't be embarrassed. You got to get into it. You have to look at it, because if we are relentlessly doing what's best for kids, then we are looking at that data. And of course, we know that our kids are more than a data point. Are you kidding me? Of course. What is going on with them? But I think PLC, that is the most powerful tool that you have. And I think you have to have a safe space to go in and say, oh my goodness, look at this standard. I did it wrong. What did you do? And then get from that place where it's my kids to our kids. Okay. How can we teach our kids? So it's not a competition, friends. It is let's teach our kids. That's your accountability system. And it's also your safe space. And it's also the place in which change happens. That's my answer, Mac.
And a good one it is. A good one it was. Ranesia, talk to us. Talk data to us. Talk
keywords.
Keywords.
Planning. You cannot produce quality instruction when you are not prepared for learning. Next word, L, learning. You cannot spend time in PLC not learning, collaborating, planning, learning, collaborating. They have to go hand in hand. You cannot do one effectively without the other. Plan for quality instruction with intentional instructional strategies embedded. That must be discussed. But then you have to learn those instructional strategies, and hopefully you're learning them from your skills specialist or instructional coach, because they're modeling them, and that the space is dripping with best practices. And then the collaborating, having to be vulnerable to say, I need help. That also that most people don't talk about is that collective efficacy. Every kid,
keyword,
every child on that campus belongs to every person, from the custodian to the parking lot attendant to the person at the front desk. All those people are key in their collective efficacy to be sure that we're doing what's best for kids, because school is an experience. It's not a one event. Every time you walk around the school, it must be an experience where there are high levels of learning, where kids feel valued, loved, and respected, where the adults feel needed, appreciated, and that they are heard, and that every leader is visible to celebrate the wins. So that PLC is huge, but it's not just in the classroom. It's not just in the planning room. Every time you walk around the building, you are planning. When you go in the cafeteria and you talk with your cafeteria worker on how we can get the line moving faster to make sure kids have enough time to eat. When you speak to the police officer, you're learning to see how we can keep our kids safe. Every moment you're collaborating with all your stakeholders to make sure that in this building, we're doing what's best for every child every day. Keyword, every child. You cannot get in the business of those kids or these kids. Or my son has autism. He's 14, 300 pounds, 6'3" teddy bear. He also has what we would call intellectually disability or disabled MR. But I will tell you, every day I remind him, you are unique and wonderfully made. You are loved, valued, and needed. And you are the bomb.com. And every component, every kid I interact with, I treat them as if though they were my child because I'm responsible. Parents sent the best. It may look different than your best, but they believe it's their best. And so when kids walk in the building, I feel like I'm preaching. When kids walk in the building, they need to know that here you will receive a quality, intentional education, and that not just for your academics, I will fill your heart with what you need to be successful. I was raised by my grandparents. My mother had hydrocephalus since I was 5 years old, which means fluid on the brain. My grandmother had a 6th grade education, and she never required me to go to college. She said, you have to graduate from high school and you cannot have a baby. I want you to think about those standards. You have to graduate from high school and you cannot have a baby. That's all she expected of me.
Wow.
But there's a but. Every day I came to school, my teachers, they helped me write my scholarship applications. They took me on college tours.
Wow.
Every morning, I wasn't even zoned to my school. Don't tell anybody. But my counselor, my grandmother would drop me off because she was a custodian in HISD. And so she would drop me off to the school nearest to her work because she was raising her daughter's children who had been abused. And then my counselor every single morning, Percy Biegas. Just think about that. I'm a teenage girl. He's a gentleman. Every morning, 6 o'clock, he was there ready to provide me with a safe place to be a father figure, to help me with my scholarship applications. My teachers wrote my essays. My teachers brought my prom dress.
Yes, they did.
And so I want you to know that when people care, remember that expectation from my grandmother. Don't graduate from high school. You have to graduate and don't have a baby. But then when I walked into the doors of Kashmere High School, they said, baby, you're more than that. Let me help you get to college. I graduated from high school in 3 years. Top part of my class. My teachers dropped me off to college. So there you are hope. You bring life. You add value. You are important. Never take your role as a leader, and everyone in the campus, in the building, is a leader. You never know what kids need, and it's our job to feel it academically, socially, and emotionally. And so anyone who works with me, my principal intern, T. Williams, I'm out of time. I need to be quiet. My principal intern, T. Williams, said, Miss Edwards, you need to do this chat. I didn't even know about you guys. He tagged me, said, you need to do this. Because I hope that any person I interact with sees my love for kids, sees my compassion to make sure the adults have what they need, and to remove the barriers. Every day I walk in, there's no excuses, just results. There are no excuses to an exceptional education. There must be just results, pre and post COVID, day in and day out. Substitute, vacancy, or teachers don't have the skills. Kids deserve a quality result.
I have an idea, you guys.
I'm
sorry. It's more than the velvet voice. I'm sorry, Charles.
It's okay. It's okay.
This is called the Ranesia Edwards Academy of Learning and Excellence. And we are going to make a statue in front of it. She's going to run it. It's ready. We're going to do it. Ranesia,
you say, I want you to know that we see more than your effort. We feel your passion. I mean, you're so very passionate. And I think that that's what is needed when we talk about this post-COVID education. I know that it's reality and we have to keep saying post-COVID, but I am so tired of even acknowledging post-COVID, because while the gap may have gotten a little larger, the game is still the same, and it is using data and using research-based practices and learning to get the job done. One of the things that I say on my campus at the end of each announcement is, hey guys, guess what? Your teachers, they're the most important person in this building today, the teachers, because today they're going to make sure that you are one day closer to the thing you want to be when you grow up. We don't have a day or a moment to lose, but you are so, my God, your boss brought me to tears. Your story, and there's a book in you, girl. There's a book and a website, a whole lot of stuff. And I am so glad to be connected with you to address the the question about how we hold people accountable. I think that you kind of hit to the heart of it, both of you, is I think that in a true PLC, we hold people accountable when we're doing PLCs. But PLC is not what we do. PLC is who we are. It is our culture that focus on the three big ideas, making sure that we have those foundational pillars, and we're asking those 4 critical questions every day. We're centered around those 4 critical questions. What do we want kids to learn? How will we know if they learned it? What do we do if they did? What do we do if they don't? I believe that when we really embrace the principles of professional learning communities that y'all are so passionate about and so involved in, I think that we move away from accountability, because a lot of times we think accountability, somebody's going to boink me in my head with a stick. The data god's going to boink me in my head if my CFA ain't right. No, we move away from accountability and we move more to, just as we supply systems of support for kids, we offer that same systems of support. So I think that what are the strategies to hold them accountable? Let's look at that accountability piece as that accountability to each other, that if one of us fails, we all fail. Mm-hmm. Because there are kids attached to you in your classroom. So when we see that there's help, that these kids need help, that means you need help. Our resources, our time, anything we do is going not only to the kids in that building. We're not, and I've been guilty of using that statement before. We're teaching around, we're going to have to teach around this teacher because there's that, blah, blah, blah. We're going to teach around her. No, we're not going to teach around the teacher. We're going to teach the teacher so the teacher can teach the kids. Come on. So it's not necessarily accountability, but it is support. It is, how are we supporting everyone? Do teachers have what they need material-wise and resource-wise, but do they need to go see this strategy being implemented well? Do I need to bring a teacher who rocked it out on the CFA over to model with your kids? Because sometimes teachers say, well, yeah, because you have the so-and-so kids and I have the blah, blah. No, let's bring teacher whose data shows she's a rock star. Let's put her in your classroom and let her model so you can learn the nuances of teaching. But again, I just think this whole PLC concept that you bring out, I love and I embrace, because when I began my PLC journey, it changed the type of leader I was, because I was that accountability person. PLCs helped me switch to that culture of, climate is how you feel, culture is what you do, building that instructional culture where instruction is the lens that everyone looks at everything through our student learning goals.
Climate is how you feel. Oh,
mm-hmm. Climate is how you feel. So you give me a climate survey. Okay, you were mad at me that day. That's cool, but we're still. This is culture. This is the system. This is what we do. So if you were mad, that's cool. Just make sure you get this. Because give me 2 weeks. I'm gonna do something. I'm always this big personality. I'm gonna rub you in your back. I'm gonna ask you about your dog. I'm gonna ask you about your mama. You're gonna like me again. That's fine. Seasons change. In Texas, if you don't like the weather in the morning, just stay awake for about 3-4 hours. It'll change.
Stick around for a while.
You can make them hot as fish grease, but it's fine. The season will change. They'll come back to you if they know that you love them and that you're doing what's right for kids and what's going right for them. Oh, they'll love you. They'll come back.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. And as always, I look up and our time is coming to an end, which means that we need to transition over to one of our favorite parts of this show, which is our ideas that stick. You see, we sit and we have a lot of conversation and we talk about all the wonderful things that we can be doing, that we should be doing. But we want to give you, as our audience, something to walk away with as we begin to close out. So let's hop on over to Ideas That Stick as we talk about a commitment that we can use to keep ourselves accountable, not just our teachers, not just our staff, but how can we keep ourselves accountable to make instructional leadership a priority. And so I'll kick things off as I try to model this. My thing is just scheduling time to be in the classrooms. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. We can't address those things that we're not aware. If I'm sitting in my office, if I'm at my desk all day long, I have no clue what is happening out in the classrooms. We can meet, we could say, okay, let's do these things. But I have no way of knowing whether or not those things are happening, whether or not they're being effective, whether or not, right, teachers are struggling. We need to be in our classrooms, and that is okay. So that is my first thing. If we are going to be good instructional leaders, then we need to be in our classrooms and seeing those things that are happening and not just watching, right? Good instructional leaders, we're even doing and modeling and holding hands and collaborating, but we can't do that from behind our desks. So Ranesia, I'm going to turn it over to you. What is your idea that sticks?
I think visible instructional leadership. Visible instructional leadership, meaning you must be intentional. It doesn't happen by accident. You're intentionally scheduling time. My planner has a time to meet with staff, a time to meet with students, and a time to be in classrooms. My daily agenda has it written that way. Who am I going to write a note of affirmation to? What students am I going to follow up with? What classroom am I going to visit? And what staff am I going to connect with? So my agenda is purposed that way, to be intentional with visible leadership.
All right, Katie, what about you?
Mac, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Relentlessly doing what's best for kids. That is also relentlessly doing what's best for teachers. We are pouring into our baby teachers, we're pouring into our vet teachers, we're pouring into them, and we are making sure that they are healthy and okay to be able to do what is best for kids at all times, relentlessly.
Okay, so is it my go?
It's your turn, Mac.
Okay, I want to put relentless because, relentless makes everything sound better. So
It really does.
I'm going to say, at first I said provide strong examples of best practices, but now because of Katie, I'm going to say relentlessly provide strong examples of best practices. Now, drop that mic. Come on. Again, I think that you have to look at your role as a teacher of teachers, and we know that it is very important to give kids exemplars when they're learning something new. They have to know what quality looks like so that they can judge their work to that strong example, and they're constantly, and then you use that strong example to provide feedback and to provide, this is what you've done, it's not quite there. So now the teacher has an opportunity to give next step feedback. I want you to re-enter your work, and I want you to look for some places where you can ask dialogue. You see the strong example, they use dialogue and they express all that emotion. Can you find some places where you can do that in your work? So they're constantly judging what they're doing to the strong example. I think that we have to provide, I know that you have to provide that same support for teachers, that this is what a strong example looks like. One of the things that I'm doing next year is I'm creating a teacher leader position on our campus, and it'll be one at every grade level. And one of the things that I'm going to require them to do is to be the model classroom, like even model environment, how you do SEL, all of the things, because at each grade level, I want a place where, new teachers or any teacher can go and see that this is the standard. And I can go in here, and now I can go back to my classroom and I can implement these things. And it's just easier when I see that strong example next door to me. Instead of, we talk about all these things and it's just abstract, and we're driving new teachers crazy because there's so many things that they're trying to figure out, and they know what they don't know. But you know what? Sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. But if there was a place in a hub where we are making it visible, make learning visible, leadership and learning visible.
I love that model classroom. Oh, Gives
I'm
me
gonna do that
goosebumps.
at every grade level. At every grade, we did that this year. We had 2 classrooms that were model classrooms, and we sent teachers in. But we told them, you get to school, don't put up nothing, don't move nothing. And one of our first, don't move anything. But we, pardon, I get caught up. Pardon that common vernacular. I am educated. Anyway, but we want to, let's go to the model classroom. We had 2 teachers that got their rooms done early, a first grade teacher and a third grade teacher. Let's go and let's talk about how this is set up, and not just how it's set up, but the rationale behind the choices that they've made. And now we'll send you, after you've been in this model environment, now go try to recreate that in your classroom. So I'm going to do it this year at every grade level.
Awesome.
I love it. I love to see pictures of what those classrooms look like. I'm sure that the walls are dripping with content to support instruction and learning. I can't wait.
At the beginning of the year, they're blank.
Blank.
Because we're going to provide spaces for your anchor charts.
Yes.
That are not pre-created. You're creating them with kids. You're building criteria together. And now, bam, I'm going to support your learning. Remember what we did in our mini lesson? Don't bother me when I'm at the small group table.
Listen, it's going to be so great at the Ranesia Edwards Academy of Learning and Excellence. And we'll have the Velvet Voice there. We're going to have anchor charts. We're going to have model classrooms. You guys, we're doing this.
And we're going to relentlessly walk the halls.
Relentlessly walk the halls. Relentlessly wear yoga pants. Slacks.
You're doing so good.
Yes.
So good.
Ranesia, it's her.
You dropped the ball right at the end.
It's needed. Sometimes you're so tired because you've been serving. You just put them on and let's go.
We're going to be suited and booted. We're going to have those blazers with the crest right there.
There you go.
And on Casual Friday, we'll have the varsity sweaters with the stripes.
With yoga pants slacks.
For y'all, not for us. For y'all.
We can find y'all something that fits personally. It's just personalized just for you. I have a great designer that can help you. My principal intern, he is dressed to impress every day.
He knows.
I'm sorry. Now I have an image of Matt. Like,
you two are fired as the stylist. You're not getting all this. See, you just see from up here. You're not putting all of this in no yoga pants. If it's slacks.
Matt, you can rock it.
Not yoga gauchos, yoga pants. Yoga capris. Nothing yoga. No.
Mac, you have to have a growth mindset.
That's the problem. I got a growth mindset. Now, I got a growth mindset and a growth bottom. You don't put growth bottom in anything yoga.
Oh my God.
Well, as we ponder,
I think it's time to wrap. Charles, it's on you.
I was gonna say, as we ponder Mac and yoga pants, we're gonna wrap things up. We just want to say thank you so much for being here. We cannot wait. As I mentioned earlier, we are back on our schedule, so we're going to be back again on March 5th as we talk about an issue that is plaguing all of us. And in fact, I sat in my car for a few extra minutes this morning because I heard a radio bit about this, that we understand that teachers, and not just teachers, but educators are leaving this field in droves. And so how do we make sure that we're not only retaining our teachers, but we are creating an environment where they don't want to leave? And we get it. There's some things that are outside of our control, but that is going to be our conversation the next time around on March 5th. So if you are a teacher or a leader, well, if you are a teacher, you are a leader. But if you're out there and you are saying, I'm curious, I want to learn more about this, or maybe I have some input on this topic, feel free to reach out to us, but make sure that you're here on March 5th for our next conversation. And as we get ready to close out, one of the things that we always love to do as our guest, as a pay it forward, we would love to hear what would be your question. Katie, Ranesia, if you were to ask our next guest a question about this topic, what would it be?
I mean, I would say, what do you need to stay? What can we do to keep you? Because we need excellent educators in every building across this nation. What do you need?
What do you need?
I would agree with that. What do you need to feel valued, respected, heard, and prepared? Valued, respected, heard, and prepared to do the important work of providing kids with a quality education.
Well, there you go. Those may be our 2 questions. Those of you watching, get ready to answer those questions. And what do you need? I love that question. What do you need in order to stay? And don't hesitate to share that out to those people who are in power in your spaces. But Katie, Ranesia, thank you so much for an amazing episode. I don't think I have laughed this much in a long time.
It's been so enjoyable. I just wanted to, everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. If you're watching with us live now on all of SchoolRubric's social media platforms, if you're watching it later, we want to thank you. We want you to join our Facebook group. We're not a one and done. We're not a first and third Saturday kind of crew. Come on. We are building a community of leaders. So if you would please go right now and join inside the principal's office. And then I see that on your screen. You should be able to use that to join our Facebook group. We have these conversations, and we want to have this conversation and this dialogue throughout the week. We are trying to engineer and create a space for leaders that good leaders do for their teachers all the time. We talk about PLCs. We talk about the PLC concept of talking and collaborating. What would happen if leadership had that same space to say, look at what I'm doing on my campus, and how can I help? What if novice principals had principals with 20 years experience to talk to them? So Katie, like you said, you don't have to make your own mistakes. You can learn from mistakes, but they don't have to be your own. Let me tell you what I did and how I addressed that. So we want you to join Facebook. We also want you to share. If you've not done so, please share this broadcast, because you're a person of influence. And I know that if you retweet this broadcast, if you share it on social media, others will watch. And our goal is to empower leaders so that we can ensure that more kids learn at high levels. Finally, on Amazon, you can pick up this book. Grab this book. This will help you on Amazon. Grab that book. And to answer our question, no one dropped it in, but Shirley Chisholm was the first African-American woman elected to the Senate. She later went on to seek her party's nomination for the presidency in 1972, I believe. So that's all I have. I am so empowered every time I come here in this space. I'm energized because we all get tired. Teachers are tired, but we didn't talk about principals. You know what? There are 9 superintendent positions open in the DFW area. 9.
Wow.
So we talk about teachers. Leaders are tired too. And I believe that in this space, our greatest need is leadership. You never see a great school district without a great leader. You won't find a great school without a great leader. So I know that spaces like this is very important, because in order to empower teachers, you need leaders to help create those environments. Charles,
Mac, appreciate you.
I love you so much.
Katie, Ranesia, thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys.
And I want to connect with both of you. Y'all will be back. I've enjoyed such a robust conversation with you today. I'm inspired by both of you today.
Thank you.
Katie, I'm going to get your book. Ranesia, we're going to talk and we're going to write your book.
Keyword, girl.
We're going to write your book.
All right, all. Well, we will see everyone back in this space March 5th. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Until next time.
Bye.
Thank you for watching School Rubric on YouTube. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe in order to stay looped in on all of our diverse collection of shows, interviews, panels, tutorials, and more from educators around the globe. And visit us at SchoolRubric.com for even more great content, such as our online articles, Interact magazine, featured podcasts, and more. Thank you.